Hey guys, Big Dan Bates here from Bates Photography. Now I've been under the weather a little bit. It's been a rough couple of weeks with work and sickness and, the same boat in everybody's house this time of year. But I wanted to come down as scruffy as I look and get this video made because I was having an issue, and I'm sure many of you have had this, where your Speedlights, the little hot shoe on them, the little tabs, break off. In my personal case, and I know it happens for a myriad of reasons, I was shooting, and I always have all of my lighting with me when I go anywhere. And my monolight battery that I thought was charged was not charged, and I didn't have my spare on me. It was a complete brain fart. I'm usually very good with that. And so I said, not a problem. I have 4 Speedlights, and I got a few different doodads like this, where you put 3 lights on it, and you put an umbrella in it, and it's nearly as powerful as a monolight. Not quite as responsive between shots, but it works fine until the slightest wind comes, and no one's holding the stand, and it goes crashing to the ground, effectively knocking all 3 of your flashes off of this device, snapping all of the little tabs, the little wings that, if you will, that hold it in here. Now, I don't understand why they don't make these devices a little better than they do, because all flashes come with this little black shoe cover to prevent the shoe from getting damaged. So you slide that onto the flash. I don't understand why these aren't made to secure around the shoe cover. But they're not. You have to put the bare shoe in there, and then, God forbid, something happens, you are destroying the bottom of your flash. So I use Sony. So this is a FlashPoint zoom. It's a TTL for Sony. So I have the multi-interface shoe. So when these tabs snapped, it actually blew apart the shoe. All my little prongs are sticking up, and it's completely unusable. For the rest of that shoot, what I basically had to do was have my wife's assistant and I each were holding a flash up like this as I was taking the picture, which actually created a nice effect because it wasn't on-camera flash and it wasn't single-sided. It was a nice even light. But that's no way to shoot. So I go to FlashPoint, go to their website. I see a replacement hot shoe. And I order 4 of them in. I have 4 flashes. 3 were broke. I said, you know what? Let me fix the 3 and have 1 spare. Because there was another incident where I had a single flash on a flash stand on top of a monopod when I was shooting the video for the real estate. How to shoot real estate with a flash, which I don't personally do, but I was showing that if people were interested in it. And just carrying it room to room, the head, they just don't seem to really hold on to these little winged flanges, and maybe it's this series of flash, I don't know. They do not hold well enough because the little feet, which I'll show you on the close-up, aren't even. So you have, towards the front, you have 2 little tabs, and in the back you have 2 bigger tabs. Well, the 2 bigger tabs in back actually stick out a little further than the little tabs in front. So all that thing's grabbing on the entire rate of flash is being pinched on those 2 on the back. So I had a flash just fall right out of the thing. Luckily, the flash survived. In fact, this may have been the flash because, there's a chunk right there where it hit the ground, hit the asphalt out by the pool. And luckily, my tabs didn't break, but another situation where they could have broken. So back to the point. Go to FlashPoint's website. They show replacement hot foot. Now, it's specifically listed the lithium-ion one that has, it's the same essential thing. It has this little compartment where it takes its 4 AA batteries. But instead of the 4 AA batteries, it's like 4 AA rechargeable batteries wrapped in tape and shoved in there. But it looked right. I ordered it. It was not right. It did not have this little hump here that comes up past there. Why? Because this is the AAA or the AA version. Why there is a charging point on the front of this, I have no idea. I thought, well, maybe it's to hook it up to an external power supply, but it's not. There's jacks on the side here for that. So I guess I have rechargeable batteries in there. I guess if I bought the adapter, I could charge them right in the camera, or in the flash. I don't need to do that. I have chargers. But because of that, there's a little green chipboard that sticks up in here. So the replacement piece has to have that little bump out. The ones FlashPoint sent me did not have that bump out. It was straight across, unusable. So I go back on FlashPoint's website and I look, and they do have one other replacement hot shoe. No picture of the hot shoe, just a replacement hot shoe. It said for flash, and it escapes me right now, but it was like, 62079, whatever it was. So I go on the search on the FlashPoint, and I look up that flash, and sure enough, it's this flash. It has the door of 4 AA batteries. It's the Zoom TTL R2 system. This is the flash. Order 4 of them. I don't know if they sent me the wrong things or it just were not something. They didn't remotely fit on this flash. They were these real thin, perfectly flat rectangles that exceeded the flash on both sides. It like stuck way out to here, way out to here. And it wasn't even a hot shoe. It was a cold shoe. It was a black square piece of plastic, which I still have to try to send back. The lithium ones I'm giving to a friend of mine who has the lithium bodies. But they remotely would never even fit this. So I'm not sure what even is happening there. So I thought to myself, because I know that Godox and FlashPoint flashes roll out of the same exact factory with the same exact components. They put different stickers on them and send them to the respective companies. So I look up Godox, and Godox doesn't have replacement hot shoes on their website at all. So I did a Google search for it. I did find some results that have the proper bump out that's required on eBay. Terrible reviews, shady kind of pricings, things like that. But my Google search revealed Aliexpress sells them. Now, for those of you who don't know, Aliexpress is kind of like an eBay for Chinese manufacturers. You can find anything that's produced in China on Aliexpress, and you're buying directly from the manufacturer. So therefore, you get good pricing. Now, you can also go on there and say, hey, I want to make, kind of like Scott Robert Lim does, I want to make battery chargers and flashes that have my name on it instead of FlashPoint. And you can do that. The company that makes the flashes will do that and put your sticker on there for a fee, obviously. And you can buy 100 flashes, 1,000 flashes, whatever. So it's a good resource if you're trying to get into some sort of production line. But it's also a good resource for something like this, because the company that makes FlashPoint and Godox products sells on Aliexpress. So this base that fits both the FlashPoint as well as the Godox, and the numbers escape me. I'm totally unprepared for this video. I apologize. I believe it's like the Godox 686. It's this same flash. It's the TTL or non-TL. TTL really doesn't matter. This particular one's for Sony, so it has to have that multi-interface shoe on it. So for me, it's the Sony, the Zoom, with the they call it the R2 system. I don't know what Godox calls it, where one remote will work every flash you have, and it's the actual one for this. So this isn't like a 3D printed one. This isn't some aftermarket one. This is made by the factory that makes the Godox and the FlashPoint flashes. So I didn't have to wait for production. I think it took, they were even cheaper than what FlashPoint was charging. I believe they were like $13, $14 a pop. Maybe it was $15. Ordered them. It is a reputable company. They've been around forever. It's fully secure. I ordered them. They got here in a little under 2 weeks. I was amazed by how fast they actually got here. I will tell you this, there is no proper tracking. Aliexpress is kind of a middleman. They tell you it's been shipped, but then they tell you need to contact the manufacturer for shipping information, but there's no information of how to contact the manufacturer. So you got to have a little faith. But they showed up in it was like 2 weeks. And they give you, when you do order it, it gives you an estimate for that part when it'll be arriving at your address. And it was pretty accurate. I think it even showed up a day early. So we're going to get into how to changing this. It's a very, very, very simple fix. The one part, because I'm terrible at looking at instructions, I just take things apart and look at them and figure it out, and that's why I know so much. But it's an interesting interface because unlike most things when you're dealing with what's called a ribbon cable, where normally there's a little kind of a flip thing you have to pop up, or you have the situation where there's a little lever. There's usually some sort of interface when you're dealing with, if you ever change the screen on an iPhone, the ribbon cables have almost like a button end on it that snaps into a socket. This literally just pushes in, which amazes me that it's made rigid enough at the very tip that you can grab it and just push it into the connector. And it works flawlessly. Excuse me, I'm sitting here rocking the table and all these things are rattling. I don't know if my mic's picking that up or not. It's driving me nuts. So we're going to get into this. We're going to change this out. It literally only takes minutes. So what you're going to need is obviously the proper hot foot, your busted ass flash, and a small screwdriver. Now I get this, my normal 40-hour week job is I run an apartment complex. I'm a superintendent of actually 2 complexes. And I'm the head of maintenance there. I'm their electrician, their plumber, and their everything else. So I frequent Home Depot quite often. I'm sure Lowe's has a similar version. I'm sure you can get a million different ones just like it on Amazon. And if you are a person who has changed your own iPhone screen, you already have tiny little Phillips screwdrivers that usually come with the kits. But this is just Husky, which is Home Depot's brand. It's a couple of bucks. It has several little different size Phillips and straight bits. I'm using the smallest of the 4, I believe. Yes, I'm using the smallest of the 4 bits because it is a pretty small. There's 4 small screws back on the bottom here that we have to get rid of. So, not get rid of, save them. You need them to put it back together, but I mean remove. So you need definitely, they're tiny little Phillips heads. So you definitely need something. Now, I prefer and I suggest picking up one of these. It's a larger screwdriver. It's a larger handle. These can be very stiff. And if you're dealing with one of those little tiny cheap things that come like the iPhone kit, if you don't have the good ones, if they gave you the little cheap glue-handled ones that are so thin you can barely get them in your fingers, you may have difficulty twisting these out. They are very stiff. They're not hard for me, but I can feel where they're stiff, and for some people it may be like they feel like they're having a hard time with them. And if your tip's not small enough to get right down in there, you're just going to keep kind of popping out and just dancing on the surface of the Phillips head. So let me get some repositioning done here, and we'll get into this. It's very simple. It literally is. Once you get this off, it is literally a 3-second repair and then putting the screws back in. This whole thing can literally happen in under a minute if you're good, like me. So let me move some camera around here and reposition some stuff, and we will get into this. All right, guys. So here we are. We have the flash. This is the part. You can see that kind of bump out there I was talking about on the bottom. It's like a smiley face here. So the first thing we need to do, we have these 4 screws. We got to use that small Phillips and just take these 4 screws out. And this is just going to lift off. Now inside there's your ribbon cable. And And there is that white little space, that white little receiver there that it sits in. I'm trying to get this where you can kind of see anyway. Now this little assembly, if you look here on this one, you have that end tab with the two little fins on it. That's what's going to push in. That part is actually rigid. So this piece here, you're just going to kind of, without losing your screws, you're just going to grab onto that ribbon up as close as you can to that little tannish white receiver by those fins, those two little tabs, and you're just going to pull it straight out. And then your new one. So when you look at the new one, in case you were unsure once you pull the other one out, so when you look at the new one here, you have one end that you can kind of see the copper connectors. And when you look at the other side, it's just black. So the connector portion where you can actually see the copper connector, that goes up. So that goes towards the white part, not down towards the circuit board. And all you're going to do with this is, again, hold it right back by those fins and line it up to your receiver. I'm hoping you can see this. And push it in. That's it. It pushes in right to the tabs are basically right up to that little white receiver there. And then you're going to kind of push it just forward so that the ribbon lays down inside the body. Line it up. You're done. Put your 4 screws back in. And there's only one way this can go on because it matches this front profile here, that little bump out. The back is flush. So, and it says lock. That goes in the back. I don't know if you saw that because I'm looking at it instead of showing it to you. But the back right here says lock. That goes towards the back. And the little bump up goes towards the front. Front being where your infrared receivers are. And sometimes you may have to pop. These screws are tight in this plastic. You almost have to unscrew them from the actual old hot shoe sometimes. There's 1, 2, and 3. It's the problem with having gigantic hands. It's tough working with tiny little screws. What I need to do is remagnetize the screwdriver. I had it magnetized once and it just wore off, I guess, from being around all the electronic components. And last one. And that in real time is how long it takes to change this out. Now you can remove your hot shoe protector. And now that we're in the close-up mode, I wanted to show you this. So there's the old hot shoe. All the prongs are busted out, the little metal plate's off, and you can see there's only one of the 4 tabs left. And that's what it's supposed to look like. 4 tabs, metal plate, all the prongs where they're supposed to be. All right, so let's pop this on the camera and verify it works. All right, guys, so we have our fixed flash here, and I'm going to put it on. This is my emergency camera. When we upgraded to the A9s, and then we sold off our 6300s, and we had 2 65s left. And then I got my wife the A7R III for Christmas, freeing up one of the 6500s that I now keep in my car with the incredibly cheap but incredibly amazing 50mm 1.8 Sony lens. I literally keep this in my car in case there's just something I absolutely have to document in my daily travels. So I actually happen to have this in the house here because I had to switch lenses on it. So we're going to pop this puppy on here and fire her up. Now I heard a nice clean contact there. Let's turn her on. So I'm going to take the picture with the lens cap on. We have flash. So there you go, short and long of it. Pretty simple. It was. I'm losing my words. It is amazing that, you know, this repair is so easy. Most electronic repairs, most camera repairs are difficult. I mean, they make these things nowadays to be almost impossible to repair on your own. You have to send it into this dealer, the service centers. So I was so incredibly happy to see how easy these were. So I know there's probably a million of you guys out there who have broken feet on your, or broken wings, tabs, whatever you want to refer to them as, on your hot shoes. And I hope this video helps. When I had these breaks and I kind of looked it up, I really couldn't find anything on YouTube. So I knew the minute I found the part and I got it ready to go, I had to make this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this gave you some relief, the way that finding this information out gave me some relief. And that's it. Have a great day. Quick announcement. Coming up, I am starting at the request of a few of my followers a kind of beginners series. So you'll be seeing some of those videos popping in throughout some of our other content. So it's going to be like a 101 type of series. So it's going to be like lighting 101, composition 101, shoot modes 101, flash 101, that type of stuff. A lot of people said, you know, you don't really have a lot of how to take better pictures for the everyday guy. You have a lot of like development things and techniques for people who are in the industry. And I realized they were right. So keep an eye out for that. And you know, we'll be continuing to make other good educational content, hopefully here, as we move forward through 2018. And we're doing some incredible stuff this year. We have a ton of weddings coming up. We're doing a cruise. We have a photographic assignment of a cruise. So we should have some interesting things there and some great production footage and stuff to share with you in the future. So that's it. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. If you liked this video or helped you, please click like. But anyway, I'm tired of looking over at this flash because that red light keeps catching my eye and I'm easily distracted. So I want to sign off for real this time. You guys have a great day. I really appreciate every one of the views I get. And I don't care about monetization. I'm doing this to be a YouTube educator and to continue to be a mentor as I do in real life with young men and children. So keep up the good work. Learn whatever you can, however you can, and just go out and create something beautiful, regardless if it fits anything that anybody tells you it should look like. Be yourself. Be awesome, because you're a star. Have a good one.